Welcome into the Stack Shack Sports Show. Today is a Monday, but all the NFL games are done, so we're going to jump straight into our weekly review of every game from the NFL. We only got 4 games, which means we get to spend a little bit more time on each. All big games, NFL divisional round wrapped up Sunday night. Honestly, some fantastic games, especially on Sunday, that we're going to get into. But first, Ravens, Texans. Congratulations, Houston. You had a great run, but you ran into a buzzsaw. Baltimore is looking to be I would say, the odds-on favorites to win the entire thing this year. They seem to be the most complete team with the best quarterback. Houston, great season. Winning a playoff game was huge. This is a team that was terrible last year. First-year head coach, first-year quarterback. Stroud did not look particularly good in this game, right? There was no touchdowns offensively for the Texans. This Baltimore defense is fantastic. It's not like Lamar threw it a bunch, but he did have 100 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns and 2 passing touchdowns. People want to say, Lamar, he doesn't get credit, I think, the way he should for leading a team to win 34-10. I don't care that he rushed 11 times for 100 yards. That's almost 10 yards a carry. That's incredible. He rushed for 2 touchdowns. I'm not worried about Lamar. I'm really not, right? And this is the kind of efficient football that they needed from him, and they won. I think you got to give him credit for that. The defense is fantastic. Roquan Smith was absolutely worth every penny they paid him. This looks like a Super Bowl team. I said it on Twitter this week. They have a dangerous combination of what we see from seemingly all championship teams, or a lot of championship teams. The combination of a very good defense, a very solid run game, Lamar Jackson being a big part of that run game, but also a hyper-athletic, impressive quarterback who can make the throws when he needs to. He didn't really need to in this game. First half, this game was tight. It was tied at half. Second half, all Baltimore. I think early on, Texans did some interesting things with blitz packages to disrupt Lamar, to get him off of his spot, to keep him out of rhythm. Ravens made the adjustments and played like the Ravens can in the second half. Okay? Baltimore, to me, is the favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. Houston, great run. Moving on to the second game on Saturday. Man, Green Bay had this one. They really did. They really did, and they gave it away, and that's unfortunate. You got to give Brock Purdy some credit for leading down at the end, the game-winning touchdown drive, or what turned into be the game-winning touchdown drive. Jordan Love was not great. He threw 2 picks. One of them, horrible at the end of the game. He called it a cardinal sin in the interview afterwards, and it absolutely is. And that's unfortunate. But this is the youngest team to ever win a playoff game, and they had the odds-on favorites in their conference on the ropes. San Francisco was on the ropes there. Green Bay looked to have a good opportunity to win this game, and they didn't. They're a young team. I think they're going to learn. They're going to progress. Maybe next season, they're able to finish some of these games off, and they're going to be very dangerous next season, I think. I think Jordan Love can really play. Yes, he made some mistakes. He made some young mistakes, is what I saw. Right? Aaron Jones is a beast. That is one of our locks of the week on carries, over 15.5. He got 18. Locked that down. That turned out to be the only win of the week. Unfortunately, things didn't go quite our way in the Bills game. We'll talk about that in a moment. But Green Bay, dangerous team for next year. I'm excited to see Green Bay next year because the amount of progress they made from the team that they were at the beginning of the season to the team they are now is absolutely incredible. Jordan Love really improved, really started to feel himself in the offense, and they almost beat San Francisco. They really did. They had a good chance. Now, San Francisco moving forward, Debo getting hurt in this game is a huge loss. We all know the statistics when Brock Purdy doesn't have Debo, Christian, and Kittle. It's not great. It's not great. Earlier on in this year, remember the 3 losses for San Francisco in the middle of the year? Debo was out, and they lost all 3 games. San Francisco is not built to become reliant completely on Purdy to make plays. They are not the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar, where they can lose 2 or 3 running backs and no Mark Andrews and still win big games. San Francisco can't do that. They need their weapons. San Francisco is built on the concept that, hey, Purdy is a 6th round draft pick. He's incredibly cheap, which means we have a lot of flexibility in the salary cap, and we're going to go out and build the best roster in the NFL. And then use Purdy to distribute, which he did enough. He did enough. Over 10 yards of completion, 1 touchdown. McCaffrey was dominant once again. McCaffrey, the utility knife of the NFL. But they are starting to get a little reliant on McCaffrey, especially if Debo is out. We will have to see. But give San Francisco credit. They finally broke the curse. Shanahan had never come back in the 4th quarter when down by the margins that they were down by. They did. Proved them wrong. So there you go. That's already a positive direction for San Francisco. Some positive things to build on moving forward. But the no Debo is going to hurt them. No Debo will absolutely hurt them. Tampa Bay, Detroit, 2 great stories. You got Baker Mayfield jettisoned by the Browns, who he got to their first ever playoff win. Bounces around Carolina and the Rams for that one game. Remember when he showed up 4 days later, was leading the team to victory. Baker having this resurgence is exciting. Detroit, what a great story they are. I think the whole entire league, the country has fallen in love with this Detroit team. And they had to go head to head. Detroit gets the win. To me, you look at the quarterback play. Baker threw for almost 350 yards, 3 touchdowns. Now, he had 2 picks, okay? And the last pick, yeah, it was bad. It's at the end of the game, a little bit of he's just trying to make a play. It was a bad pick. He could have lived to see another day. Absolutely. But, this, I don't think was an offensive problem necessarily for Tampa Bay. Their defense gave up 31 points, It was hard fought, but at the end of the day, I think the Detroit Lions just had a little bit more firepower, a little more juice, right? Jared Goff played well, no turnovers. You got to play clean football. We've seen this now in multiple games, right? Look at this one. Which quarterback's throwing less picks, right? Now, in this one, neither quarterback threw a pick, but Lamar was the better one. Jordan Love throws 2 picks, they lose the game. Baker throws 2 interceptions, they lose the game. In these close games, turnovers are a huge factor, and turning the ball over is not good. And when you do, you're going to be in trouble. So, there you go. Detroit gets the win at home. Now they have to go on the road. That's going to be tough. Detroit, this whole season, has been so much better at home. Then they go on the road and they have not looked great. So keep an eye on that. Detroit has a great roster, though. A bunch of rookies. Jahmyr Gibbs really coming into his own in the end of this season here. So watch out for Detroit to make it tough against San Francisco, especially with San Francisco missing Debo Samuel. Cannot overstate that enough. But unfortunate loss for the Bucs. Great win for the Lions. Gritty team, continuing to win, continuing to play good football. They are giving up a ton of yards on defense, though. So what does Brock Purdy going to do next week? That's going to be the matchup to watch. Can Brock Purdy deal and dish out and go for 350 yards? If Shanahan can come up with a game plan and Brock Purdy execute it, minus Debo Samuel against this Detroit Lions team, this Detroit Lions defense is definitely susceptible to giving up big games. And I don't think Detroit and Jared Goff on the road will be able to keep up with San Francisco if San Francisco's firing on all cylinders. We'll have to see. Moving to the game of the week. Man, every single Chiefs-Bills game seems like a classic. It really is. They showed that little piece at the beginning of the game talking about the Manning-Brady rivalry. And there is a bit of a rivalry now brewing, right? Between Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and these two teams. And Patrick just has their number in the playoffs. He does. And once again, turnovers were a factor. Now, not necessarily Josh Allen turning the ball over, but look at these numbers. 26 for 39 for 186 yards. Now, he did run the ball really well. And I understand it was cold and a bit windy. But this is the efficiency that was needed in a game like this. 17 for 23, 215. Those are bad passing numbers. He was really dinking and dunking. Chiefs, multiple plays over 20 yards. Bills, 0. And they're normally a big play offense. Now, they did miss the one big shot that was open. Stephon Diggs dropped the ball. And he dropped the ball in multiple ways. One, he dropped the ball for his team, and that could have been a big play and really would have energized them, maybe allowed them to score a touchdown on that drive. But also, unfortunately, was not able to get the catches we needed to hit the over. He ended the game with 3 catches. I think we needed 5 to hit the over. So unfortunate. Very unfortunate for Stephon Diggs to end with only 3 catches. Snead is legit. He has shut down everybody. He really has. So, got to give him credit for that. Was disappointing. Stephon Diggs didn't hit the over. Bills don't win. I thought they were going to win this game. I did. But it's really interesting. Buffalo just seems to find a way to lose. They do. They seem to find a way to lose to Kansas City. Find a way to lose to Cincinnati last year. They got really blown out by Cincinnati. It's like, man, what is missing here? The Bills team on paper feels like they should be winning this game. They do. But Josh Allen kind of dink and dunk, not really pushing it down the field, and terribly inefficient. Patrick Mahomes, incredibly efficient. Pacheco, good once again. Second half and into the fourth quarter, I said on Twitter again, I'm live tweeting all these games every weekend. I said going into this fourth quarter, whoever can figure out how to stop the run is going to win. And in the fourth quarter, the Bills could not stop the run. And the Chiefs figured out how to stop the run a bit. And there you go. The Chiefs get the touchdown in the fourth quarter, take the lead, hold on to the lead. I mean, Buffalo did not score in the fourth quarter. They just fell apart. It almost felt like watching the game. When they got to the fourth quarter and they had the lead, they said, oh my goodness, we're going to beat the Chiefs. We might have a chance at this. And then they let them get back into the game and lose. It was really weird. They really felt like, I mean, even on that last drive, not aggressive, really worried about the clock. They just took the kick for granted, and he missed the kick. Kickers miss kicks sometimes, right? I mean, you look at Green Bay has some serious complaints with their kicker, right? That's just how it goes sometimes, and I do not understand the play calling down the stretch. You wanted a touchdown in that situation. I feel like they settled for a field goal. They took a couple of shots, but they didn't sustain the drive. They were driving the ball late. And then it's like they got close enough that they felt good about a field goal, so they said, Josh, throw a couple at the end zone. He missed Diggs on that drag route right across the middle of the field. That would have been a first down. It was really weird. I'm not sure I love the play calling, or at least the emphasis in the strategy. You need to be going for a touchdown there, and a sustained drive touchdown. Don't take shots at the end zone. If your whole strategy here is, we want to eat up clock, we don't want incompletions. Right? So why are we throwing 30-yard shots at the end zone? I don't understand it. if we're going for a touchdown, you want to eat clock. Sustain the drive. You were driving. You were doing fine. I don't understand the philosophy there at the end for the Bills. Give credit to the Chiefs. They were efficient, and somehow, all of a sudden, they figured out how to get rid of drops. I mean, Kelsey was even dropping them earlier this season. Playoffs? Everybody's catching the ball. Scantling's catching the ball. Kelsey's catching the ball. Pacheco's running hard. Rice has emerged. Where are the drops? Where is this Kansas City team that was struggling? This Kansas City defense is substantial. They are legit. This is the best defense Mahomes has had. It's hard to bet against Kansas City. It really is. If they can avoid all these drops and turnovers and problems, where's the penalties? They're just not there. And I would say this game was officiated correctly. There's always going to be a few calls in every game, and especially when it's the Chiefs, because there's a heightened awareness. Everybody thinks that they get all the calls. I don't think they got the calls in this game. I think they got the same amount of calls that the Bills got as far as, how it was refereed. I thought it was very fair. Thought it was fine. There are a couple of ticky-tack ones, but overall, Buffalo still had a chance to win this. This was not the refs gave the game away or gave it to the Chiefs. No. Buffalo had every right to win this game, and they just didn't deserve to. They missed the field goal. They took their foot off the gas going into the fourth quarter. It was just disappointing. I feel bad for the Bills fans out there, especially for the ones that shoveled the stadium just to watch their team get crushed. So that's where I'm at. As far as who do I think has a good shot, I mean, it's earlier in the week. We're going to have to see. We're going to have to see. If Debo doesn't play, I lean towards the Lions in that game. I do. I really like Lions plus the points if they're still getting as many points as they were earlier. I haven't checked the lines recently. But Lions feel like a winner if Debo doesn't play. If Debo plays, we might have to renegotiate. We'll also see the weather. Weather could be a factor. That is an outdoor stadium. It's looking fine right now, but we'll have to see. As far as Kansas City and Baltimore, I think this is where finally stops the run of Kansas City. I do. I think Kansas City runs into a bit of a Houston Texans problem against Baltimore. I think they'll put a better showing than Houston is because I think they're a better team than Houston. But Baltimore is legit. And Lamar Jackson and Baltimore, they're not afraid of anybody. It feels like the Chiefs were a little bit in the Bills' head. They're not in Baltimore's head. And Baltimore can play with them at every facet of the game. Trust me, the Chiefs ain't running as easily against Baltimore as they did against Buffalo. They're not. You're not going to see those big rushing numbers. You're just not. Baltimore is too good. You might see the same number of carries, but the type of production they were able to get, especially late, Baltimore's not giving that up. Baltimore's linebackers are too good. They're not injured. Buffalo had a lot of injuries on defense. That's a big factor. So I think Baltimore gets a big win against Kansas City. It is hard to bet against Mahomes and Andy Reid, though. I've done it a couple times in my predictions here this playoff, and yeah, it's not looked good. Not looked good. Obviously, we knew they were going to beat Miami. I thought Buffalo had this game. And really, up until the end, they did. And then they found a way to lose. And that's the case. So let me know down below in the comments what you think. Who looks best in these conference championships? Cannot wait for Sunday. Going to be a fantastic slate of games. 2 big matchups. Some great storylines along the way. We'll deep dive them a little bit later this week. But let me know your early predictions. What was your reaction to the Chiefs and the Bills? Man, Bills fans, I'm sorry for you. But with that, we'll see you tomorrow.